Welcome, beautiful souls, to another episode of Soulful Summit. I'm Izzy, your guide through the poetic peaks and valleys of life. Now, we've been diving deep into some seriously soul-stirring poems lately, exploring the depths of the human experience as we reset and refresh for the new year. But today, I've got something a little different in store for you. I am so happy to share a poem I first read in public school. It serves as a reminder to me that not all poetry is serious, and many humorous poems can still help to shift our thoughts or focus just a wee bit. This is one of those poems. The poem is The Cremation of Sam McGee, which was penned by the talented and renowned poet Robert W. Service. The setting of the poem is the unforgiving and treacherous landscape of the Arctic, a place where survival was a constant battle against the elements. Picture this: the frozen tundra, the howling winds, and a tale that's equal parts eerie and, well, downright hilarious. Yep, we're taking a poetic detour into the wonderfully wacky world of The Cremation of Sam McGee by Robert W. Service. Now, before we get into this, let me just say, this poem might not be your typical cup of herbal tea. We're veering off the serious path and into a territory where tongues might get frostbitten if they're not firmly in cheek. But fear not, there's still wisdom to be found in these icy verses. Without further ado, let's read the whole poem. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the South to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold, through the parka's fold it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd close, then the lashes froze till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed, and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me, and Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, it's the cursed cold, and it's got right hold, till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet tain't being dead, it's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. A pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail, and we started on at the streak of dawn. But God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched on the sleigh, and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee, and before nightfall a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brains, but you promise true, and it's up to you to cremate those last remains. Now, a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart how I cursed that load. In the long, long night, by the lone firelight, while the huskies, round in a ring, howled out their woes to the homeless snows, oh God, how I loathed the thing. And every day that quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier grow, and on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in, and I'd often sing to the hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin. till I came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw in a trice it was called the Alice May. And I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then here said I, with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared, and the furnace roared, such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so, and the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out, and they danced about, ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked. Then the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm, in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile, you could see a mile, and he said, Please close that door, it's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plumtree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge, I cremated Sam McGee. So let's unwrap this poem a bit. We've got Sam McGee, a fella from Tennessee who decided the North Pole was the place to be. Now that's a long way from sweet tea and sunshine, but old Sam had a peculiar request for when he died. When I'm gone, don't you dare leave me in the cold. Promise you'll cremate me, turn me to gold. Now, imagine being in the shoes of Sam's pal, mushing through the frostbite-inducing cold with a frozen friend in tow. There's a promise to keep, a body to burn, and a whole lot of bizarre adventures to navigate. But here's the kicker. After all the struggle, the sweat, and probably a few tears frozen on cheeks, what do we find? Sam, chilling, pun intended, in the heart of a furnace with a smile wide enough to warm the Arctic. It's the first time I've been warm since I left Tennessee, he says, cool as ice. Now, I'm not saying that life is all about hauling frozen pals around and playing pyromaniac in the Arctic. But hey, there's a nugget of truth here about the unexpected twists and turns life throws our way. Sometimes, the path to warmth, metaphorical or not, or even just the path to keep our word, takes us through the most peculiar journeys. So, as we reset and refresh for the year ahead, let's remember Sam McGee and his unconventional quest for warmth. Who knows, maybe our own journey to find that inner glow will have a few unexpected turns and laughs along the way. Until next time, dear friends, stay well and try not to make any promises to your friends like this one.